Hey man, most guys miss the signs, not because they're blind, but because they're looking for something loud, obvious in your face. They expect women to confess, to chase, to declare their feelings outright. But that's not how most women operate, especially when it comes to the ones truly worth pursuing. A woman of depth won't tell you with her words. She'll show you with her energy, with her presence, with the small things that don't scream, "I want you," but whisper it through subtleties you weren't taught to recognize. And if you're still out here waiting for some grand gesture, you'll miss the quiet ones, the good ones, the ones who are already waiting for you, but doing it silently, watching, testing, hoping you'll notice. So let's break this down. Let's expose the quiet truths. Because if you pay close attention, her energy always tells you when she's waiting. And brother, once you see it, you won't unsee it. She doesn't chase you, but she lingers. She doesn't start the conversation, but she always responds. Not immediately, not too eagerly, but consistently. That's her way of staying in your world without forcing herself in. She might react to your stories, she might leave a comment here and there, but more importantly, she's available. You may not be the center of her attention yet, but she leaves just enough space for you to enter. That's not coincidence, that's deliberate. That's her creating a gap just wide enough for you to step through. And if you can't sense that, if you think it's just polite behavior, you're not tuned into the frequency she's using. Because women don't wait with their feet, they wait with their attention. Her presence lingers in your digital space because she wants to be noticed without begging to be seen. Watch that. It's not nothing. Another subtle sign? She asks you about things most people forget. Not just your job or your weekend plans, but your mood, your dreams, the little things you mentioned weeks ago that you didn't even remember saying. She brings them back up, casually, like it's no big deal. But it is. Because the way a woman remembers is tied to her emotional investment. She stores what matters to her. And if she's recalling details you dropped in passing, that's not just memory, that's attention. That's her way of saying, "You matter to me," without ever needing to say it directly. And the reason it's subtle is because she doesn't want to scare you off. She doesn't want to come on too strong. She wants you to step forward because you want to, not because she pushed you. That's the beauty of feminine restraint. She lets you lead even while she's quietly hoping you will. Now look closely at her eyes when you speak. Not when you're talking about the weather, but when you're speaking truth, when you're vulnerable, when you mention your struggle or your purpose or your pain. If she leans in, if her gaze softens, if she mirrors your tone, that's not politeness, that's connection. She's not just hearing your words, she's feeling them, she's absorbing you. And even if she doesn't reply with something profound, even if she simply nods or holds the silence, that silence is sacred. That's her making space for your soul. And a woman doesn't do that for just anyone. That's one of the deepest signs she's already waiting for you, because her emotional walls are coming down in your presence, even if just a little. And in her world, that's huge. You'll also notice she starts aligning her schedule with yours, subtly. She doesn't cancel plans to see you, but suddenly she's free when you are. She doesn't beg for your time, but somehow your paths keep crossing. Maybe she shows up at the same places you frequent. Maybe she mentions how she's getting into something you're passionate about. And while it might seem like coincidence, deep down you know it's intention. She's placing herself in proximity. That's how women wait, not passively, but strategically. She's not chasing you, but she's making sure you have access. Because a woman who's waiting knows the value of timing. She won't throw herself at you, but she'll position herself close enough so you can't pretend she's not there. She pays attention to your reactions. You post something serious, she reacts. You disappear for a few days, she checks in. You change your tone, she adjusts hers. This isn't just kindness, this is calibration. She's attuning to your rhythm, learning how to navigate you, not to manipulate, but to connect without disrupting your pace. Most women don't do this. They operate based on their own emotions, expecting you to follow. But the ones who are quietly waiting for you, they match you. They don't chase, they align. They create emotional harmony. And if you've never experienced this, it's because you've been focused on the loud ones, the ones who demand, not the ones who wait. You'll also notice she never disrespects your absence. That's one of the most powerful signs. She doesn't punish you with coldness when you get busy. She doesn't guilt trip you for having a life. Instead, she stays graceful, she gives you space, and when you return, she welcomes you without passive aggression. Why? because she understands a man on a mission, and because deep down she's hoping your mission might one day include her. That's feminine patience, that's emotional maturity, and you better believe it's rare. If you find a woman who gives you distance without punishing you for it, you're looking at someone who understands the dance of masculine energy. That's not a coincidence. That's her waiting in the most dignified way. Another subtle sign, she opens doors for deeper connection, but never forces you to walk through them. She'll mention something personal, something soft, something vulnerable, not as bait, but as invitation. And then she waits, she watches, to see if you'll step in. That's how emotionally intelligent women signal interest. They don't pressure, they reveal, they don't interrogate, they invite. And if you're too numb, too distracted, or too insecure to recognize that moment, you'll miss the gateway. Because when a woman gives you a piece of her inner world, and you brush past it, she remembers, and she won't offer it again. So if she shares something meaningful, stop, honor it. That's not just a story, that's her heart knocking. You'll feel her presence even when she's not around. That's another sign, not because you're obsessing over her, but because she left something with you. A lingering thought, a phrase, a look, a gesture. Something about her energy clings to your awareness, and that's not witchcraft, it's intentionality. It means her feminine essence is syncing with your subconscious. That happens when she's emotionally invested, when she's created emotional resonance, and that's not accidental. That's what waiting women do. They don't try to stay in your life. They simply leave traces of themselves that pull you back. And if you're a grounded man, you'll sense it, not in a needy way, but in that quiet, magnetic way only a truly feminine woman can create. Lastly, and perhaps most importantly, she respects your masculine energy. She doesn't try to mother you. She doesn't try to fix you. She doesn't compete with your direction. Instead, she admires it. She might challenge you, but always with softness. She might tease, but never to diminish. A woman who's waiting knows she cannot force her way into your life. So instead, she positions herself as an asset, as someone who uplifts, not disrupts. And if you feel that peace in her presence, that sense of ease without boredom, that's the rarest kind of feminine energy there is. That's the energy of a woman who's already chosen you. She's just waiting for you to notice. She doesn't gossip about other men around you, not because she's trying to look perfect, but because her attention is already narrowed. A woman who's waiting doesn't keep entertaining options just to fill the silence. She's already made a quiet decision in her heart, even if her lips haven't spoken it yet. Pay attention when she changes the subject, the moment someone brings up other guys. Notice how she avoids using male names or referring to past relationships around you. That's not shyness, that's intention. She doesn't want to blur the emotional line she's drawing around you. She wants you to feel like the center of her universe, even if it's unspoken. And while she's still living her life, she's already emotionally prioritized you. That's not an accident, that's a choice. And most men miss it. She brings peace, not pressure. This is one of the most telling signs that she's quietly waiting for you. She doesn't pressure you into labeling anything. She doesn't rush your pace or demand timelines. She doesn't project her anxiety onto you. Instead, she becomes a source of calm, a space where you can breathe without explaining. That's not weakness, that's power. Feminine power isn't about control, it's about containment. She holds space for your growth, even without knowing where it's headed, because she's not attached to the outcome, she's invested in your presence. That's rare. And if you don't recognize the woman who can sit beside your silence without trying to fill it, you'll miss the only kind of woman worth building with. Watch how she lights up when you walk into the room, not in a fake, exaggerated way, but in the subtle shift of her energy. Her eyes soften, her posture straightens. She becomes more alive, more present. A woman's body language will always tell the truth, even when her words stay guarded. If she's waiting for you, she won't need to say it. Her body will, her attention will. Her laughter will suddenly sound different when you're around. Her eyes will scan for your reaction when she says something funny. Her movements will subconsciously orient toward you. That's her subconscious betraying her feelings. And once you're tuned into that, you'll see it every time. Her body is waiting, even if her mouth hasn't caught up yet. She defends your name when you're not around. You'll hear it from others, or maybe she'll let it slip herself. Someone criticized you, questioned your choices, doubted your path, and she stood up for you. That's not her trying to impress you. That's loyalty before possession. She doesn't need to be your girlfriend to protect your name. She does it because she already feels emotionally bonded to you. That kind of loyalty is not something you earn with words. It's what your energy evokes in the right kind of woman. If she defends you when you're not there to witness it, trust me, she's already invested. That's one of the deepest signs she's waiting for you. And if you ever find out she did that, don't ignore it. That's the kind of loyalty men spend their lives searching for. She stops entertaining emotional drama from others. Her energy becomes more refined, more sacred. She's not as active in gossip. She's not venting on Instagram stories. She's not surrounding herself with toxic friendships. You notice a shift in her boundaries. She's decluttering her emotional life, not for you directly, but because part of her knows that if she wants to be ready for something real, she needs to create space. A woman who's waiting starts preparing herself for a deeper connection, even if she can't admit it out loud. That's why you'll feel a certain stillness around her, a quiet preparation. She's aligning herself emotionally, and that, brother, is one of the clearest signs she's already waiting. She's cleaning the room before you even walk through the door. She compliments you in subtle but personal ways. She doesn't just say you look nice. She says, there's something about your presence that feels calming, or I love how your mind works. These are not generic compliments. These are emotional keys. She's handing them to you, waiting to see if you'll unlock anything deeper. Most men hear these things and brush past them, thinking they're just polite remarks. But when a woman compliments not just your looks but your essence, your thoughts, your energy, that's her way of saying, I see you. And that's not common. She's not trying to flatter. She's revealing that she's paying attention. And in her world, that's as close to a love confession as it gets. She becomes softer with you, not weak, softer. Her tone lowers, her voice slows, her sarcasm fades. You notice she speaks with more care, more emotional depth. That's a woman disarming her armor. And make no mistake, every strong woman has armor. She's used to protecting herself, masking her vulnerability, playing the confident game. But around you, that mask slips. You'll catch her being gentler with you than she is with anyone else. That's not by accident. That's because you make her feel safe enough to be her real self. And once she starts doing that, she's no longer testing you. She's hoping you'll choose her. That's the moment most men mess up. They think her softness is flirtation. No, it's surrender. She starts reflecting your values back to you. If you're someone who values discipline, you'll notice she starts being more intentional about her own routines. If you're someone who prioritizes mental clarity, she'll start showing interest in journaling, meditation, or self-work. She's not copying you, she's aligning. That's what women do when they want to bond deeply. They begin to reflect the man's mission through their own lens. It's not about abandoning who they are. It's about tuning into a shared frequency. And when she starts mirroring your values, especially the ones you never asked her to adopt, that's her telling you, I'm already preparing for the life we could build. She's waiting and evolving. She starts pulling back just enough to see if you'll step in. This isn't a game. This is preservation. A woman can only wait in the shadows for so long before she starts wondering if you see her. So she'll pull back, not as a punishment, but as a final signal. A retreat that says, if you want me, now's the time. She's not trying to be dramatic. She's trying to protect her heart, because waiting for someone who never notices you is one of the most painful forms of self-betrayal, and she's trying not to betray herself anymore. So that slight distance, that reduction in replies, that quiet withdrawal, that's not disinterest. That's her last invitation before she walks away for good. Don't misread it. She makes peace with the idea of not having you. This might sound counterintuitive, but it's one of the deepest signs she was waiting for you. Because a woman who truly waits doesn't do it forever. At some point, she starts letting go, not out of bitterness, but out of love. She begins to accept that maybe you'll never see her, maybe you'll never choose her, and instead of holding resentment, she simply chooses to move forward with grace. But make no mistake, her decision to move on was born out of deep patience, out of hope that slowly faded, not because you weren't enough, but because you never reached out. And by the time you realize it, she'll be gone, but with nothing but love in her heart. That was a woman who waited, and she waited well. She listens differently. When a woman is waiting for you, really waiting, she doesn't just hear your words. She listens to your pauses, your tone, your silences. She pays attention to what you don't say. She remembers small things you mentioned weeks ago. She's not doing it to manipulate or strategize. She's doing it because she's emotionally invested. You've already become a priority in her mental space. When she listens like that, she's not looking for things to criticize. She's gathering pieces of your world and storing them away like precious stones. Most men don't realize how meaningful that is. They think deep listening is just politeness, but for a woman, it's sacred. Listening is her love language when she doesn't have permission to love you yet. She doesn't flirt with other guys in your presence, even subtly. That's not to say she becomes invisible or stops being herself, but the moment you enter the room, she emotionally disengages from the games. There's no more playful attention seeking, no more open-ended conversations with random guys meant to stir up curiosity. Her energy becomes focused, grounded. Even when others try to get her attention, she redirects it. That's not manipulation, that's loyalty without obligation. That's her way of showing you, I'm here, I've chosen you. I'm just waiting to see if you choose me back. If you ever notice a woman shift her behavior like this in your presence, don't dismiss it. It's not about jealousy or validation, it's about quiet devotion. She never makes you feel like you have to earn her time. She's not creating obstacles, playing hard to get, or setting artificial boundaries just to test your interest. When she's waiting for you, she removes the barriers. Her availability feels natural, not desperate. She's not rearranging her life, but she's showing you clearly that there's room for you in it. You don't have to fight for her attention. You don't have to jump through hoops. She simply makes space, emotionally, mentally, logistically. That's a woman who's already emotionally chosen you. She's not asking you to chase her. She's showing you that she's not hiding. And that transparency is the deepest form of feminine vulnerability. She asks about your dreams, not just your day. There's a difference between surface interest and soul curiosity. If she's waiting for you, she'll want to know what drives you, what scares you, what wakes you up at night and keeps you going in the morning. She'll want to understand your vision, not because she's trying to judge or change it, but because she wants to see if there's a space for her inside of it. She's imagining your future, even if she never says it aloud. That's why she doesn't just ask how work was. She asks if you're happy doing what you do. She doesn't just ask about your past. She asks where you see yourself 5 years from now. That's her heart checking if it can grow beside yours. She starts showing up for your growth, even if it costs her comfort. If she sees you trying to evolve, emotionally, physically, spiritually, she'll support it, even when it challenges her. She won't guilt you for spending time on your goals. She won't sabotage your solitude. She won't make your mission about her. Instead, she'll quietly adjust. That might mean shorter phone calls, fewer texts, less dependency. Not because she's losing interest, but because she wants to align. That's a woman who's waiting with strength. She knows that the man she wants is becoming someone even better, and she's willing to wait for the version of you that doesn't need to abandon his dreams to keep her around. She gets nervous around you, not because she's insecure, but because you matter. You'll notice her fidget slightly, choose her words more carefully, maybe even laugh at things she wouldn't normally find funny. That nervousness is not immaturity, it's vulnerability. You've already disrupted her emotional balance, and that's not something women allow often. A woman who's used to attention doesn't get nervous around men who mean nothing to her, but when she's around someone she's emotionally invested in, someone she's quietly waiting for, her entire body betrays her composure. Her hands move more, her eyes blink faster, her breath shortens. It's not fear, it's hope. Hope that maybe this time her heart is safe. She doesn't require constant reassurance, but she deeply values your presence. She's not needy, but your absence is noticed. She doesn't demand texts every hour, but when you're gone too long, something dims in her. She won't admit it, she won't confront you, but her energy shifts, because even though she's not yours, she feels the gap you leave behind, and that's one of the most beautiful signs that she's waiting. She's strong on her own, independent, self-sufficient, but she's already allocated a part of her emotional world to you, and when you go missing, that part feels hollow. She won't chase, she won't beg, but she'll wait a little longer, hoping you return to the space she saved just for you. She tries to impress you without being obvious. She might wear your favorite color, Even if you never told her you liked it, she might mention reading a book or watching a documentary you once talked about in passing. She might learn a little more about your passions, not to fake interest, but to meet you in your world. These are subtle acts of emotional courtship. She's showing you, I'm paying attention, I'm investing silently, and most men miss these cues entirely. They think gestures have to be grand to be sincere, but the feminine heart speaks in nuance, in detail. In the soft rewriting of her daily routine, just to feel closer to you, even when she's far away, she starts guarding her heart from others. You'll notice she becomes more selective with her emotional energy, fewer deep conversations with other men, fewer flirty comments, fewer emotionally vulnerable posts online. She's pulling her energy back, not because she's retreating, but because she's conserving it for you. Even if you don't show up, she's already begun the process of emotional loyalty, and if she's doing that without any commitment, imagine how powerful her devotion would be with one. That's what men miss. They don't realize how deeply a woman can commit in silence, but when she starts withholding parts of herself from the world, she's already yours. She's just waiting for you to see it. She becomes your piece, not your project. She doesn't come to you with chaos. She doesn't demand emotional labor. She doesn't expect you to heal her or save her or fix her past. She just shows up with calm, clarity, and consistency. That's her way of saying, I'm ready, I'm whole, and I'm here. You don't have to decipher mixed signals. You don't have to decode passive aggression. She's emotionally present and emotionally stable, and in today's world, that is the rarest form of attraction. A woman who's already done her own work, and who's simply waiting for a man who's done his. She doesn't broadcast her feelings to the world, she reserves them for you. A woman who's truly waiting doesn't need to post cryptic stories, seek public attention, or hint at her emotions in a desperate display. No, her love is quiet, hidden, intimate. She's not here to make a scene, she's here to hold space. You'll feel it when she speaks to you differently than she speaks to anyone else. Her voice lowers, her walls soften, her words carry a warmth and intention that others don't receive. That's how feminine energy reveals itself. When it's tethered to one man, it closes the doors to the world and opens just one, for you. And the longer you take to step through it, the longer she stands there, open, exposed, praying you don't walk away. She starts taking emotional risks. She brings up topics she usually avoids. She confesses past wounds, not for sympathy, but for intimacy. She lets you see the real her, not the polished version, not the guarded front, but the woman behind the mask. And why? Because she wants to know if you'll still be there when she's not trying to be perfect. That's her test. Not one of manipulation, but of safety. She's not checking your patience, she's checking your capacity. Can you hold her when she's not okay? Can you sit with her truths without judging them? If she's showing you that side of her, you're already in her heart, and she's already waiting. She respects your time even when it hurts her. If you're busy building your business, chasing your vision, or managing your responsibilities, she doesn't interrupt you with drama. She doesn't guilt trip you. She doesn't make it about her. That restraint, that's her maturity. That's her signal that she sees your path and honors it. But make no mistake, she still misses you. She still wants more. She just knows that a real man needs space to create. And she gives it to you, not because it's easy, but because she believes in you. That's rare. That's powerful. That's the kind of woman who won't just wait for your attention. She'll wait for your legacy. She builds a bridge to your world. Even if she doesn't fully understand your lifestyle, your work, or your passions, she tries. She asks questions. She shows interest. She learns your language, not just your spoken words, but the way you move, the things you care about, the environments where you thrive. That's her way of preparing. She's not trying to change you, she's trying to meet you. Most women wait for a man to enter their world, but a woman who's waiting for you begins the journey into yours. That's not weakness, that's emotional intelligence. That's devotion without demand. And it's one of the strongest signs she's already invested. She doesn't compete for your attention. She withdraws when it's not reciprocated. And this is where most men get confused. When a woman starts to pull back, they think she's lost interest. But sometimes, a woman who was waiting simply got tired of waiting alone. She didn't feel seen, she didn't feel chosen, and so she quietly walked away. Not out of anger, not to manipulate, but to protect herself. That silence, it's not punishment, it's self-respect. So if you noticed all the signs and ignored them, her availability, her vulnerability, her loyalty, don't be surprised if one day you look up and she's gone. She was waiting. You just didn't answer the door. She nurtures your masculinity, not with control, but with care. She complements your leadership. She affirms your efforts. She creates space for you to relax into your masculine core without feeling like you have to compete with her. That's not submission, it's trust. She trusts your direction, even when she doesn't understand it. She trusts your silence, even when it scares her. That's a woman who's not just waiting for a relationship, she's waiting for you. The man, the leader, the builder. She's not looking to overpower you. She's looking to join you, and that's what real partnership looks like. Two people standing strong on their own, but better together. She doesn't chase, but she stays close. You won't find her flooding your inbox or begging for your time, but you'll notice she's never far. She reacts to your stories. She replies to your thoughts. She subtly keeps herself in your periphery, not because she's desperate, but because she doesn't want you to forget she's there. It's soft, it's feminine. It's a gentle reminder that she's still open, still hoping, still waiting. And most men overlook this. They're so busy looking for dramatic signs that they miss the subtle ones. But it's in those quiet nudges, those soft interactions, that the real invitation lives. She mirrors your emotional frequency. When you're deep, she's deep. When you're lighthearted, she plays along. When you're distant, she senses it, but she doesn't push. That's not mimicry, it's alignment. She's letting you lead emotionally, and she's meeting you wherever you are. That's trust, that's respect. She's not trying to force connection, she's waiting for you to open the door. And if she's mirroring you without complaint, without control, without games, that's her saying, I'll go as far as you take us. She invests without a guarantee. She shows up to your events. She supports your ideas. She shares your work. She plants seeds of love without knowing if they'll ever grow. That's not foolishness, it's faith. Faith in who you are. Faith in the man you're becoming. She's placing emotional bets on you, not because she's trying to trap you, but because she believes you're worth the risk. And that kind of woman, she doesn't come around often. When she shows up, don't make her beg. Recognize what she's offering before her silence replaces her loyalty. And the final sign, she waits with grace, not pressure. She doesn't rush your process. She doesn't demand timelines. She simply remains available without expectation. That's not passivity, it's wisdom. She knows that the right things take time, and if you're the right man, you'll notice her patience, you'll honor her effort, and you'll make the move. Because no matter how independent or emotionally strong a woman is, when she waits for you with that kind of quiet devotion, she's not just giving you her time, she's offering you her heart. And if you miss that moment, it may never come again.